All right, guys, I am super pumped up today. This is a legend in the business. EXP is a huge opportunity, but the big opportunity is that lets someone like myself get to work with someone like this man we have on the podcast today. I'm super grateful to be partners with him going forward. You're going to hear an incredible story. At one point, Jack Stoker had about upwards of close to 50 offices through the EXIT system. We all know EXIT, great company out there. He oversaw almost 1,000 agents. He is now at EXP with us, and he's going to tell a story of entrepreneurship, why this is so important, why he'd come back to make it swing at the fences at this business model. We're going to relate this podcast to mainly independent brokers and business owners on the difference of the franchising system to the independent brokerage model, and why so many brokerages are partnering with a company like EXP going into the stressed marketplace and the market turning. It's a huge opportunity. So we're going to go through Jack's history of his business. It's quite extensive. So Jack Stoker, let me welcome you on the show, man. Super pumped up.
Hey, Connor. Hey, thank you so much, man. It's great to be here. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. I've seen a lot of your podcasts and really enjoy them. So, like I said, it's really an honor to be here.
Well, very few people can have a story like yours. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. So let's kind of dig in, man, and let's kind of get it out there, because you're one of those serial entrepreneurs, just like myself, and just like a lot of people that follow our channel. And you got just your roots in the business. I mean, I think you got your license back in 1985.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, let's go through, because you have a lot of interesting background points to share with what's happening right now with the market correction. You were in the mortgage business. You've done a lot of different things throughout your career, but you also owned a massive region, primarily in Texas, for EXIT. And a lot of people are now looking at EXP, including yourself. And let's kind of go through the transition of your career, and then we'll talk about why this is so important, why someone like yourself with that extensive history would partner with a company like EXP.
You bet. Well, I was going to say that it's a pretty long road, but I'll try and be succinct. In the beginning, I have been. You're right. When you say serial entrepreneur, I just came here that way. When I was in college working on my business degree, I started my first business at 23, and we grew it to 5 locations. A very, very successful little restaurant franchise, and did that to put myself through college. Also played music. I still play professionally, drums, and had a more than my 15 minutes of fame. I got to play with Sam Hagar, and we had a run with him for about 15 years, and a lot of good rock and rollers and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. Kind of a rock and roller at heart. Rock and roller entrepreneur. But anyway, got off and learned about working for myself and running the business, 13 hours a day, 7 days, 8 days a week. I learned that part of it real quick. But, got me through college. We ended up selling that business, made some money. I took my real estate license, and the first job out of college I had was working for a leasing company, and I was leasing UT students apartments. And, it was okay. I mean, I was doing all right. I'd make $400 or $500 a lease or whatever. But, one guy I leased, he was working for MCI, and we started talking. MCI had broken up AT&T and the Bell companies, and it was the wild, wild west, man. I mean, telecommunications was exploding. And the guy said, man, we're making money hand over fist over here. You seem like a pretty sharp guy. You ought to come check us out. Well, it didn't take much for me to go running over there, and I was hired pretty much on the spot. And so for years, I worked in the communications industry. I was sales, and then I rose into management. And very quickly, I went ahead, and the entrepreneur in me came out. They started offering brokers to expand their reach, contracts to go and sell. And I was already selling for them, so I knew the products, I knew the services. I went out and just crushed it. Margins were just really, God, some of you guys will remember when phone calls, long distance calls cost 50 cents a minute. You can imagine every minute going by, I was making money, man. I was like, I'm going to retire on this. But, like all industries and things, things change, and the margins got squeezed, and the internet started coming, and, prices kept going down and down and down. And so eventually I said, okay, I'm out. I sold my brokerage. And, kind of sat back for a little while and said, I always thought about finance. Commercial real estate's really where I wanted to go. That's why I got the license. But the commercial industry in Austin and Texas was just in the tank in the 80s. So, I was interested in finance, and that's where I went. And this kind of leads me to EXIT. That was really, the entrepreneurial adventure of a lifetime. But I got into financing once again real quickly. I saw that these brokers that were coming into our wholesalers, and they were making a lot of money, and they were getting leverage off of all these loan officers that were going to work for them. And they could offer a little more because they didn't have brick and mortar. They didn't have, they were all working out of their houses and computers and stuff. And so I got my Texas mortgage broker's license, and I started my mortgage company. And that's what led me to EXIT. We started busting. I was marketing to all the real estate agents, right? Hey, use us. I had our own agents in RE/MAX offices and stuff right down the street from our little office. And so, we were leveraging and marketing. And that's where I said, hey, we probably might want to think about getting in the real estate business. We'll generate our own leads. And that's where the genesis of me getting into the brokerage business was. And so it was really, really funny. Excuse me. A partner of mine brought me a TAR magazine. That's the Texas Association of Realtors. And EXIT at the time was hitting a tipping point. They were screaming. They were just hockey stick, just incredible linear growth. Exponential growth. And we contacted those guys, and we were talking about getting a franchise. And then they came in and said, "Hey, you guys interested in maybe doing the region?" And they gave us the price tag on it, and we choked. It was, I don't mind saying it was upwards of $500,000 for most of Texas and some other areas. And man, we were like, God, that's all the equity in my house. That's calling relatives and stuff, hey, but we really believed in it. So we bootstrapped it up. And, real quickly, because I really wanted to visit with you about EXIT and why I'm here at EXP. So this is where I want to spend the time, because it was an incredible adventure of about 10 years up until the crash, and we'll get to that. But the bottom line for us was we were given the keys. We had all this territory, and corporate was like, good luck, go make it happen. And so obviously we were very incentivized to do that, since we had everything in our kitchen sink wrapped up in this thing. And we did. We set off, and we were running from the Panhandle to the Valley. And if anybody from Texas, seeing this video, how big this state is. So with that being said, we drove a couple cars into the ground, but slowly but surely we started talking to brokers, showing them a system. It had a residual component, which, from my telecommunications days, and, passive income leverage was always what I was looking for. And I could explain that to people, and they got it. And so we started really growing very quickly. And we went from the first year, 10 offices, 100% growth the next year, 20 offices, and, probably about 80% growth the next year. And so we were off and running. And we opened our own brokerage, Round Rock, EXIT Round Rock Realty in the top of a bank building, big lease. Very expensive. Anyway, the reason I say that is because running the region and running a brokerage was probably not the brightest idea, but we wanted to eat our own dog food, so to speak, and we saw brokers making some good money. We thought it could supplement the region while we grew. And so it was an incredible experience. We had almost 1,000 agents at the height, and a lot of people did very well. Up until the crash.
Right. And then what happened then? Because a lot of that's very important.
Come on, man. You know what happened then? It happened to almost every company out there. I don't care if you were Keller Williams. I've been intimately close with that group. I'm here in Austin. I'm actually out in Lake Travis. But I was, competing viciously against Keller early 2000 to 2008, 2009. So we knew each other, and but the point is that when that happened, it was ugly. It not only impacted our industry, it impacted the banking industry, it impacted business across the country. What happened in the recession. It wasn't just real estate, but we were the tip of the spear. And so, our banking and our real estate business, it contracted, and we had all of these contracts for really nice first-class offices. That was part of our model, and part of the franchise was you got to have so many square feet, you got to have so much signage, and you were assigned a small geographical area, right? But this is your corner, so to speak, and you got to make it look nice, and it's got to be, class A. And so, we all went out and we followed the model, but we had tons of capital and invested in these long-term leases, building purchases, commercial loans, you name it. I mean, so, a lot of these brokers, when the contraction hit, and I say contraction mildly, it was a disaster. And a lot of these brokers, I'll tell you what, we went from upwards of 50 offices. We dropped in probably 7 or 8 months, 10 months, 35-40% of our offices. They just walked away. It was that tough. I mean, that you couldn't get money, you couldn't sell houses if you don't have any money. All the banking regulations and underwriting guidelines had tightened up substantially. So, it was really tough, and that really, to make a long story short, because I can go on about this forever. And maybe we can do it on, some more detail on some other podcasts. But, that is when, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And some of my partners, I had one partner and my mortgage, and one partner in my real estate company and EXIT. And they were like, oh, it won't last too long. And, it's going to come back around. And, I was like, I'm going to look for some other opportunity. And so I sold my shares to my partners back in 08, 09, beginning of 09. And I went to work as a vice president for business development for a cloud-based insurance company, which is really the genesis of what got me so excited about this company.
Right.
I will tell you that just like every other business model out there, forget real estate, we're seeing everything transition into technology and the ease and comfort of click, click. Amazon's dropping it on my front door. Click, click. I see the house I want. Click, click. I got my yellow taxi cab out front. And all these businesses are extraordinary. Well, here's what happened with Resilient. Our model was so efficient for agents in the field that, and AIG was our principal underwriter. AIG, American General now, one of the biggest insurance companies in the world. Instead of building their own platform, what do? They say, wow, you mean we can go and do an enrollment at a business, and the guys that we don't hit, they can just come on and get their own insurance and be underwritten and everything, bing, put their credit card in, we're done. They bought our software. Now, it wasn't my software, but they bought Greg Feste's software, and I think he's in the Caribbean somewhere.
Well,
I'm not kidding. I know he has a place in Colorado.
When you were exiting EXIT,
I'm going to take off my jacket. You mind?
Do I know?
I'm going to take off my jacket. I'm getting a little fired up.
So, guys, when he was exiting EXIT, what a lot of people don't realize is, EXP Realty is now the single fastest growing brokerage in North American history. And when the franchising model was hit hard during that last compression point, going to the last correction, Glenn Sanford, our founder, who we all have a great respect for, he saw this and anticipated going forward. Anticipation is one of the biggest skill sets that an entrepreneur can have. So he did what Jack was talking about, knew he was wanting to build a cloud-based brokerage. So when he was running his independence, think about this. What we're feeling right now was what was going on back then. Days on market were up, number of actors were up, price reductions were happening, building permits were reducing in every major city, people were refinancing portfolios. The indicators are here. History could repeat itself. And so he took the model cloud-based, and look what happened, right? Now that we have the fastest growing company in history, think about what it would take, for Jack to take that risk factor to go into the exit franchise system. Great company, but that takes a serious entrepreneur. Not many people have that risk-taking nature. They don't need to now. EXP is allowing brokers, independent brokerages, to partner with us at literally almost nothing out of pocket when you look at what they're paying. So let's talk about kind of some of the hurdles of the franchising model, because we all know the franchise model is dying. It's very difficult to turn in this type of day and age a profit doing so when competitors are going cloud-based, offering more tools, more incentives like what EXP is offering. So let's talk about from a psychology look in as far as cost of capital risk, legality handcuffs that you're tied into, and then regions that you can't get out of, and what EXP you saw in EXP was going to allow you to do more and expand more with less risk and really kind of open up the entire country and now international to kind of leverage your business outside of.
Yeah, I'm excited about Australia and Canada. I got friends in both places. So I do want to do India as well. I'm going to push real hard for that. A lot of English speaking folks over there. Anyway, I was going to say that, the capital, first and foremost, what I love about working with EXP is it's not a franchise. And there's no capital risk. That's why you look at these entrepreneurs. The folks that I'm working with. It's like you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. But going back to the box model, the franchise model, and all of the different franchise, because we looked at a lot of franchises before we started dialoguing with Steve Morris, who was the president and CEO founder. He was with Remax for a long time. But before we talked to him, we looked at Cendant, which was Coldwell Banker, Century 21. They had several other, franchises too. It was a big conglomerate that owned all these real estate brands. And the one thing that was really prohibitive for us, and what is prohibitive in the franchise system, period, is number one, the capital to buy a restricted territory. We were overcoming, $50,000, $100,000 initial investment, and some of these brokers were just working their tails off just to make ends meet, and now you're asking them to give you $100,000, but the restrictions of the, the nature of how restricted these franchises are, and the capital investment doesn't stop there. You've got, we had building requirements, we had housing requirements, we had signage requirements. I don't know the last time you went and bought a 20 by 10 lit sign, because your building required that, but it ain't cheap, And so they were weighed down with financial obligation, contractual financial obligation, and so you had the capital issues there. The other issue was that there was really no collaboration. We would go to regional owner meetings once a quarter, went to great places, It's up in Whistler, Canada. Regional guys were getting treated pretty good, But our brokers back in San Antonio, they were still sitting there slogging it out, and we'd try and come back and bring information, and we do trainings, for those guys where, we could have had a top performer, or something like that from New York or whatever, helping with that, or bringing the guys that are having success and bringing those guys in. So training was a real big issue. I'm telling you, training was a big issue. The capital investment was a real big issue. Lack of collaboration. Yeah, you could refer a deal from, Austin to, San Antonio, but there wasn't any systems in place where everybody could be dialoguing, things of that nature. So, those are some of the limitations. If you jog my memory, I'll throw out some more.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to go over some high level information today. Private conversations are for later to reach out to Jack. We'll dig into all these high level collaboration strategies of tools and training. But I know a lot of entrepreneurs that watch this channel are cringing when you said restriction multiple times. We don't want to hear restriction. We want to hear expansion. We want to hear growth. We don't want to hear how to be tied into a box. The other thing entrepreneurs don't want to hear is taxes, right? We don't have those taxes here at EXP. Some companies call them royalties. We're giving agents and team leaders and builders of companies huge opportunities here, which is going to be for a private conversation with Jack and myself. We're going to show you how to reach out to Jack after this call. But let's kind of talk about, your entry into EXP and how we kind of got connected with Tyler Nix. one of our top team leaders down there in Austin, incredible entrepreneur. And what excited you about partnering with a partnership like ours? Because this comes down to time and stress always. And so one of the things that we've done is built a back-end system to really free up time and stress for independent brokerages to roll their independent in. And we can kind of talk about this you've been talking to a lot of them already. I've never seen someone come into this business and have more conversations with an independent broker than you, just to be honest. It's incredible what you're doing so far and how many conversations you started. Guys, as you know, technology is always glitchy. So sometimes Zoom messes up. So we're going to get back where we were. Jack kind of got caught up there, but we're going to fill you back in. What we're talking about here is why someone like Jack with such an extensive background in the franchising system would partner with an independent, and then why he chose to partner with a team like ours. Because guys, you have to realize this is not a local game we're playing here. The way Glenn Stanford built EXP is incredible. It's a national, now international opportunity, I guess you could say. So you can partner with Jack if you're in Florida, if you're in California, if you're in Texas. The team you join matters in something like this. And so we're going to talk about, Jack, why you looked at our team and what we were doing so different than other teams, and how this can save time and stress for an independent brokerage coming in. Because we've kind of built a whole back-end system out behind the scenes with the webinar system, live webinars pretty much every day of the week, full-on training systems, live trainings in the morning for these agents, full video vaults, all sorts of different things that they can step in to hit the ground running. Because I know that's important for someone like yourself who sees the model, gets excited about the model, jumps in, but doesn't want to slow down to have to put these systems in place. And we've already built that out. And then I want to talk about how you and I are running hard behind the scenes, because it's been like 6 or 7 independents that we're getting this close on already just in like 1 month. So I'm super pumped up. You're going to be one of the biggest game changers in our business. And I'm more grateful than to be partnered with someone like you. So,
well, right back at you, Connor. I have a big vision, and this is, in my opinion, an entrepreneurial opportunity of a lifetime. And excuse me, it is time sensitive. Excuse me, it is time sensitive. So we are absolutely running hard. I am in the process of looking for entrepreneurs that understand the leverage, where the industry's going, the stress and the burdens and liabilities that they've had on their brokerages for years. EXP is lifting. The tools and systems that are in place are so numerous. I'm still learning, all the features and benefits. We just rolled out healthcare. I knew that was coming. They were talking to me about that. That's a big deal. We had 1,000 people that were uninsured at exit. So I'm coming at it from 2 angles. I have a service mind. One of the reasons I wanted to get back in to the industry, and I saw that EXP was absolutely the way to do it, was number one, there's a lot of agents and especially entrepreneurs and brokers that need this, that really, really need this. And the other aspect is that we're on the ground floor. I am telling you, I look at this stock as ground floor Netflix. How would you like to have Amazon ground floor? That's where this company's going. I know it. I can't say, I'm not clairvoyant, but I've been in business long enough to know that this model is rock solid. And it's answering all of the problems. That's the issue. It's coming around its circle and answering all of the burdens that brokers have. And so, and it offers so much freedom. The fact that they can do business all over the country, all over the world. They can build passive incomes, production incomes, stock portfolios with us. It's just a far-reaching opportunity.
Well, it gives them multiple streams of income. It gives them, a lot of agents they tell me that they feel that our stock awards are essentially a retirement plan for them. But for a business builder like yourself and myself, we see that as a retention tool that didn't traditionally exist in the real estate brokerage world. So, Glenn Stanford's incredible. I think, I heard him say one time, don't quote me or don't get mad at me, Glenn, if I misquote you, but he said that he wanted to create EXP's value proposition so strong that when an average agent looked at our business model, that they'd be irresponsible with their career going forward to hold their license anywhere else. I think he's already accomplished that. And what's crazy is he's going to continue to grow and expand this. And some of the stuff coming down the pipeline is shocking. We just partnered with expressoffers.com. I believe they were the #1 client for Home Depot in North America. And they're in-house partnership, I guess you could say, iBuyer program that allows the agent to stay in the deal. So a lot of iBuyers out there are the threat to the industry. So now we can work with a partner iBuyer that will allow the agent to submit the property or the client to the express offers. If they buy the house, they'll renovate the house and give the listing to the agent at EXP back on the back end. So think about the time, energy, and resources you spend to get to a transaction in the first place. If you're an agent listening to this, what if you were able to get 2 transactions plus an accelerated transaction on the back end because it's now forced depreciation from the renovation? So this is a huge option for agents, the health insurance, all the lead generation tools. And so like I hear it all the time from competitors sending disinformation. Guys, you got to understand what's going on. Just like Fox and CNN, business is competitive and it's important to send out disinformation in the marketplace. So I hear all sorts of crazy things out there, but not to go down some of these things, but where we're going right now is a huge opportunity for agents and brokers going forward because the savings in time, the savings in stress, and the systems put in place ahead of time. This is essentially a bolt-on business for you guys running your business going forward to step in and go run day one. They're giving a ton of lead generation tools. I hear it all the time, one of these misinformations that we don't sell real estate, we just recruit. It makes me just like look at that person like, where are you getting your information from? Because if you look at our numbers last quarter, we sold $11.1 billion in sales volume. Our revenue's exploding. It's going up, increasing at exponential rates, guys. EXP agents, we're attracting some of the most successful sales agents in North America. So if you're hearing that out there, come sit with someone who knows what's going on. Don't take information from a competitor about another competitor's company, because how could it possibly be accurate? Then another thing is there's just a lot of excited people, Jack, out there. You know this as well as I do. This is a life-changing opportunity. It's changing my life. I know it's going to change your life. I know it's changed a lot of my friends' lives. It's because of the extra income opportunities and the tools that they're giving us. But, you guys, you need to take information from someone who knows what they're talking about, a high-level person like Jack or myself who can explain the business model. If you ran into someone locally in an REI club that kind of vomited all over you, I get it. They're excited. They're wanting to build their income through our revenue share model through time and money freedom, which is a residual income stream, because our company is sharing 50% of the revenue that comes back into the company, back to the agents to grow the company. We're not growing through corporate recruiters through the franchising system. We're growing agent to agent. So they're giving the opportunity to the families like ours and Jack's and yours to build this company, and it's a huge opportunity. So maybe you want to talk about that difference between how franchises grow through the corporate recruiter on salary up front versus what EXP is doing agent to agent, and how that's so different than what you've seen throughout your career in the history of brokerages.
Yeah, I can expound on that a little bit. I was going to say that, first of all, you're absolutely right that, you want to be working with the right team. I wouldn't have come into EXP had I not met the caliber of people that are on this team. And but I wanted to backtrack a little bit to the brokers you were talking about. Some of these guys, whether they like it or not, those agents are going to start seeing the value proposition that EXP is. And I will tell you, I was calling to visit with a broker today, and an agent picked up the phone. and she had a similar name to a first name. And I said, "Hey, is this Diane?" And she said, "Yeah, this is Diane." Well, it was one of the broker's agents, and I started talking a little bit about, I'm sharing with this model, the future of real estate and what's coming. We're doing some video conferences. We're very thorough. And this agent, the more she listened, she said, "Can I do a video conference?" So I called Tyler and I said, "Hey, put it on the calendar." So I will tell you, this opportunity, like Connor touched on, it has so many facets and so many benefits and features for the agents and the brokers that, it's coming. Whether you like it or not, I tell people that, knowledge is power. You want to find out what's happening here. You'll have the facts. If it's for you, great. If it's not, it might be maybe one of the biggest mistakes you make, but anyway, I was going to say that, absolutely, this has been a real powerful experience for me. And, once again, I am looking for entrepreneurs and folks that really see the big picture, because you know, look, guys, and I want to go back to this. And I'm sorry I got off a little off track, but you know, look at how many Blockbusters were all around in our retail centers. They were everywhere. They were in every strip center in America. And I'm talking about, guys, you know this, overnight, they were putting their videos on the sidewalk for sale. They were out of business. And I touched on this a little bit, but I can't impress upon the entrepreneurs out there, agents, anybody who's watching who is in the industry, that this is coming. Forget real estate. It's already taken over so many industries. And so the fact that we're on the cutting edge of it and providing all these tools and services, it is amazing to me. And so, I'm sorry I got off track a little bit, Connor. Anything else you want me to touch on? Or?
Well, I mean, I want to just point this out. So two things, guys, are happening all over the globe right now. It's the inventory model and the brick and mortar model are going the wayside, and the franchise model for in different industries. So the inventory model is like the yellow taxi cab. That's very logistically heavy, long-term replacement of those taxi cabs. Now you see Uber and Lyft. Now compared to the Holiday Inn and Marriott, I mean, I stayed in Holiday Inn the other day, great hotel chain, but people are going to Airbnb and VRBO now. So there was hardly anybody in there, and it kind of shocked me because I just did it out of convenience. Now, the other thing that's happening is brick and mortar is just disappearing. I saw statistics the other day that 10,000 brick and mortar companies just went out of business. These are not small companies, guys. Blockbuster, Sears, Macy's, Borders Books, Toys R Us. And like, if you look at two companies like Toys R Us and Amazon, one would be the brick and mortar model, one would be the cloud-based model. Look at what Toys R Us was asking their customers to do. The same customers and the same toy they're selling that Amazon would be, but they say, get in your car, waste all that time and stress as if your time means nothing, drive to the store, get out of your car, go into the store, walk around the store, waste more time and stress, sit in line, check out, waste more time and stress, hop back in the car, waste more time and stress, get back home, check your receipt to see a higher price tag. And if you want to take that toy back, you have to drive back to the store and do it all again. There's a great company. They are gone. Why? Same reasons happening in real estate right now, guys. It's so powerful. You have to understand. I kind of want to go back to what I was alluding to before. I would not be here right now if I had not come across a high-level individual. Rob, appreciate you. You changed my life. Everybody knows Rob Flick, our company. But I was blowing EXP off for about 16 months. I had this opportunity when the company was incredibly small. I am out of Dallas. This is primarily, most of EXP is centrally located in Texas. And this is why why we're doing this podcast, Jack, because we need people that have fragmented information to sit down with some high-level thought leaders that understand what's going on. You, myself, partners that they could work with, because I'd written it off. I'd blown it off for 16 months. I was so for sure I was not interested in this because I did not know what was going on. I thought I knew what was going on. And then when I saw what was happening, immediately I knew exactly what I was going to do with my career going forward. And that's why I came into EXP. And I think that's happened to a lot of people. And so we have a huge responsibility for the families we talk to, guys. If you're at EXP, you owe it to the people that you come across to not just go off that feeling emotion, to have a little bit of background in explaining our model. Because what if you explain our model incorrectly, like a lot of people did to me, and I almost missed this opportunity, and it would have, I mean, it's changed my life. And if I had just listened to the first couple of people that did a poor job, I wouldn't be here right now. So it's very, very important that you take the time to learn how to explain our business model correctly, or you could be sacrificing someone's future that could have changed their life. And so I take it personal when I see these things happening. I hate to hear people say, oh, they're not interested in EXP. I'm like, how could you not be interested in the single fastest growing company ever that I've never seen a company's value proposition this strong? That's a long rant, but this is why it's so important, which is why we're doing this podcast, so that if you do want to work with someone like Jack or myself, that you do sit down and we do a full presentation behind the scenes and kind of talk about this a little bit, Jack, how this would go down. So you've been talking to lots of different independents. We're not going to name names of companies, obviously would never do that. Right. But what has been the response from some of these brokers as far as pain points in their business, time restrictions? They're still selling their own real estate as the broker. Yeah. And if they're still selling real estate as a broker, isn't that counterintuitive starting a brokerage? Like, I don't know. You give me your opinion.
Yeah. No. I have had the opportunity to talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and brokers because let's face it, you brokers are entrepreneurs. And period. You go by the moniker of real estate broker, but to have the fortitude and the wherewithal to take on that responsibility, you're an entrepreneur. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of I ran my own brokerage. I asked a lot of these brokers, what are some of your what do you like about your brokerage? What what are some of the things you could change if you could change them? A lot of it is pretty universal. Their time constraints, being able to keep all those balls in the air, training, compliance, marketing, advertising, and then on top of that, I mentioned this earlier, these brokers, or maybe I didn't, maybe these brokers are out. I talked to several of them today. I kind of give them a hard time, kind of poke them in the side, so what are you doing out working on Saturday? Well, I know damn well all of us work on Saturday, in the real estate business, but, we're changing that, and we can change that. And so, the answer from them is, once we get into a little bit more higher level conversation, is that, man, I need the commissions. He's got to keep some of those deals for himself, because they need the money to cover that overhead, and make a living for themselves. So, and not to mention, the financial and the legal burdens that are on these guys. I talk to guys that don't review contracts, and it's like, well, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to do a contract review before you submit it, So, the point is that these guys are being pressured from so many sides with, all these issues. And they're responding when I start telling them that, look, we're lifting management burdens, we're lifting the training burdens, we're lifting, marketing, we're teaching these guys how to fish. We're not throwing them a fish and they're coming to you like a bunch of dogs at dinner time, throwing them out a deal here, a deal there. We're teaching these guys with all of our marketing tools. You didn't even touch on the CRM. Our database management is phenomenal. We didn't have that at EXIT. There are so many tools that are available here. It is just so feature rich. But those are some of the problems that I'm seeing, and they're pretty universal.
Think about this, Jack. So EXP's cloud-based model is essentially, the way I like to think of it, is an outsourcing system for the stress and headache that a broker feels. And so they should not be selling their own transactions. That's a supplement of their business. It's opposite of why they created the leverage of duplication through a team in the first place.
Exactly.
The reason why a broker is so stressed out, and you hear the saying that's like running a prison they can't get out of, or running an adult daycare that they can't get out of, is because they wear every cap in the business, on the contract review, all the liability, all the overhead costs. It's all on them. EXP has, I was told just the other day, now 600 paid employees working for them. When I come into the company, I think are working for them and for us in the cloud. I think we were just over a little over 100 agents. Just to think the expansion just a few months past a year and a half is unbelievable. So personally, for a business owner like myself, I see that, and I'm not, I don't know exactly what they're paying the salaries behind the scene, but most companies you're probably paid between $40,000 and $70,000 a year. So I'm giving a guesstimate off the penny, guys. But let's just say that EXP is paying their employees behind the scenes about $50,000 a year. 600 paid employees that I can have help run my business. 600 by 50,000. I see it as I'm stepping into a $30 million bolt-on business that was built before me. That's a vehicle already going down the road that I can hop in and drive to my goals and create success quickly. And
that's about as strong as it gets, man. That's an amazing thought there, and I really didn't think of it that way. But do people realize that all those employees are available in the cloud for them to utilize? Do your viewers know that you got $30 million worth of employees sitting there waiting to help you?
They don't, because they're making decisions off emotion and feeling, not business intelligence. They're not slowing down. We get it. People are busy, just like I was. It took me over a year to slow down to look at it. And it's very frustrating, because busy people are busy for a reason. And a lot of people tell me, Jack, that I get it. I know it's a big opportunity. They don't know that it's the opportunity. And if they sat down with high-level people in the company that knew what was going on, explained them as far as risk management, time management, emotion management, scalability, the ability to exit the business at some point. The traditional franchise model or the independent brokerage model is more difficult to scale as it gets bigger. Our business gets easier to scale. I could turn my phone off for 6 months or for 60 days and come back. And I can't say it will grow, but my opinion is it will keep growing because of the way our system's set up. But I guarantee you, at a normal independent with 30 agents, if you turned your phone off for 60 days, do you think your business is there when you come back? So it's a complete shift in psychology of how a business is being run. And so that's how I see it. Because if you don't understand what's going on, Glenn took the model cloud-based, which eliminated the need for brick and mortar all across the country. It eliminated the franchising system. It eliminated the corporate recruiter system. It eliminated the need for thousands of buildings, as well as real estate trainers to go into thousands of buildings and employees to run those buildings. He's taken it cloud-based and centrally located up there. In the cloud, you're going to have a full outsourcing system with hundreds of employees handling payment processing centers, accounting departments, live training auditoriums to train your agents, brokers to review the contracts for you and take the liability away. They're tracking all this, giving us incredible support systems. Like, I'm shocked that this even exists and that we can just step in and do what we're doing. So very grateful for Glenn and the team for doing this for everybody and giving us this opportunity. But yeah, truly, Jack, I think that the information out there is fragmented to beyond belief because so many new agents are coming in the company, and then so much disinformation. They don't know. They really don't know. And that's why it's important to sit down. And because someone like yourself that had almost 1,000 agents operating underneath you and almost 50 offices, why would someone not want to talk to you from an independent brokerage position and think of it from the entrepreneur looking in? Now, from the agent looking up, incredible opportunity as well. Lead generation tools, CRMs, tracking systems, marketing department, all the support as well. But we're really wanting to talk to business owners right now because I think that's who can benefit the most, at least from having a conversation with you. Yeah,
I appreciate you getting that information out there. That'll probably help me if some of the brokers see, like you called it, a bolt-on business. It's a really interesting perspective you came up with. But I will tell you, we are not anti-office. What I've been telling, because some of these guys, and we're not taking people's brands. I mean, some of these guys that I've talked to, they've spent 20 years building that brand, and so that's powerful. They can keep all that. And I'll tell you what folks are doing, and what I'm talking to people, and some of the brokers are already making plans to do it, is to scale back. Some of these guys own buildings and they've got 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, and it's like, realistically, the real estate of the office of the future is, it probably will be a conference room and a few workstations, and you don't need all that staff and all that furniture. And, so a lot of guys are saying, hey, I can lease the top floor of my building. And yes, you can scale down, reduce that overhead. So those are some of the things that are out there, that just all kinds of creative entrepreneurial ways to run with this thing.
Well, I hear that too. I don't even know what that means. EXP is anti-office. Guys, EXP is not anti-office. They're pro the family and the company making a better career for themselves, helping to support the family that they have by giving them better income opportunities and better training and support. You have to realize that you can still have an office at EXP. In fact, a lot of people in my organization have offices, and we have a national contract with Regis. If you do want an office, people don't want an office, Jack. They want to work from home and spend more time with their family. The single parent on my team, there's a lot of them, and that's one of the biggest reasons they came here is the work-life, family-life balance. It's not just the income opportunity. This is a real opportunity to change your life. They get to spend more time at home. And what is the American dream in the first place? It is to work from home to raise your kids and family. You're saving the commute time to the office. The average agent tells me that came to my team that they spent 15 to 45 minutes commuting to the office both ways and over an hour wasting time doing non-income producing activities at that office. And you know as well as I do, high performers work 12 hours a day plus, but the average agent may work 4 to 6. So over half their time, some of them is being wasted on logistical times doing nothing with their business. Now, from a broker's perspective, think about all the risks that you avoid. We all know one of our partners that had a fraudulent sexual harassment charge that destroyed their whole brokerage. There's real life risks to running a business. And EXP does not take your brand, you partner with the company. So for example, depending on how your state's structured with your real estate commission, this can vary. You do have to follow your real estate laws, but you're brokered by EXP Realty. So let's say your company's Titan Realty or Excalibur Realty. You partner with EXP Realty. It's now Excalibur Realty, brokered by EXP Realty, or whatever the verbiage that you use in your state. It varies. And this is important to understand. By doing so, you're still going to maintain control of your business. I had a broker the other day, Jack, ask, well, was a state broker for EXP going to put a tent in my office and take over my business? No, they're an outsourcing system to help you run your business. And so the other thing is every single time one of those 30 agents in your office comes to ask you a question that's 10 to 15, 20 minutes that you used to have to invest to help them, you can now still go to the payment processing center, go to the broker room in the cloud, go to the tech outpost, go to the accounting department. And every time you say 15 minutes, that that time goes back into your pocket that you can reinvest your relationships with your family and friends or put it back into go for bigger goals with your business and scale it faster. So this is life-changing. And I really want you guys to hear kind of from a perspective of people from inside the company who knows what's going on. So we're going to keep putting videos out like this But so Jack, you're down there in Austin. You're building this all across North America. You can. That's the other thing. I get this all the time, and unfortunately, guys, all that you've contacted me, they've already joined the company. There are rules that you cannot cross teams, unfortunately. But this is something that's important to understand because a lot of people don't reach out to me, Jack, or you, or someone when they see a podcast like this because they think the old school independent brokerage model. I've had a lot of people watch my channel and say, I would have joined your team, but I thought I had to join a team in my local market. That is just not simply true. You can join the team if you're in Florida, if your cousin joins in California, you can join from California to New York. You can do this across state lines. So if you're an independent brokerage in Maryland or in Oregon, you can contact Jack and have Jack be your partner in Texas, and we'll explain how that works because this is a big breakdown of communication about our model is we're not playing a local geographically restricted business independent model in one pinpoint on map. We're growing nationally and now internationally, which is exciting. So I just want to get some of these kind of nuances.
I've got two things to close. I'm running short on time. I'm sure. Sorry, Connor, but two things. I wanted to expound on the fact that yes, absolutely, we are creating a team within a team. And I will tell you that it's a big reason, I said this before, that I joined this company. Connor says it very succinctly, most people will follow, a good solid leader. I don't care what the business model is. I want to know about the men behind the model. What are they made of? And right now we've got lots of plans to do heavy lifting for our brokers. I've got brokers who are rolling in brokers. So I mean, it's like, hey, will you and Tyler or you and Connor go over there and visit with them and do the same thing for him that you're doing for me? Well, absolutely. So it is important who you're partnering with in the company. The other thing I wanted to touch on was I've got a company that's got 900 agents here in town. And I was in that office for almost 2.5 hours for a meeting. Wow. Okay. I was actually meeting with the vice president and we were discussing a few things and about the market in general. And I will tell you, I had the big glass conference room right by the front door. Okay. I probably saw out of those 900 agents that came in, probably 3 or 4 in 3 hours. I wanted to share that with you, Connor. Important. Okay. And you probably, it doesn't matter who it is, but the point is it's not indicative of them. It's indicative of the industry. And so, I'm telling you, I want to close with this. Anybody who's watching this opportunity, you owe it to yourself and your family, your children to look at this thing and get it from a source that's going to give you what the power and potential of what is here with EXP. So I hope that you guys reach out to Connor. He's one of the most phenomenal businessmen I've had the pleasure of working with. Extremely accomplished for such a youngster. Anyway, really appreciate you, Connor. And anything else I can do for you at this time?
Yeah, I want you to give your contact information, and we'll talk about, we'll put a way for them to contact us. So one of the things that we're doing, guys, is Jack's reaching out to some of the top independent brokerages all across North America, and then I'm flying around the country. We don't send videos to an entrepreneur. I think it's disrespectful saying, hey, watch this video and tell me when you want to roll your career over and make me a bunch of money. I will fly out there. I'll look you face to face. I'll meet in your office. We'll talk about ways to structure a team and how to support these families coming in, because this is important, the way you structure your team coming in. There's real life implications if we advise these families in your organization. Let's say they were an icon agent the incorrect way. So I take it very personal. And something else you mentioned, that when you look at a team or leadership of a company, I know you looked at us closely, and I'm grateful you made the decision. I hope that team of 900 looks at us as well. But I studied not just EXP when I looked in, but I really researched Glenn Sanford, and I really look at our leadership at the top of this company: Stacey Onan, Jason Gessing, Dave Kennard. All these individuals I have massive respect for. And so I think that's why we're growing so quick, is we have strong leadership, a massive compensation plan, and a very powerful business model. And if people think this is not going to stop, or somehow the music's going to stop playing, they just do not know what's going on. That being said, how do they reach you, Jack? Give them your number. We'll put your contact information below here. And this is time sensitive, guys. Let's get going. If you're serious and you haven't looked at this opportunity, let's have a quick conversation. It's always good to just start the conversation to see where it goes.
Absolutely. And I've got a whole team of people down here too. They can contact me, and we can go to work, get them any answers or information that they want, and tell them what a phenomenal model this is. You can reach me at 512 in Austin, Texas, 512, actually it's Lakeway, Texas, 512-999-1231. That's 512-999-1231.
What's cool is I've seen you kind of, I know how you can explain the model, because not everybody can explain it from the perspective you have coming from the franchising system and being so successful for a decade. And when you sit down with an individual, birds of a feather flock together, we're all cut from the same cloth. And I've seen you explain it from that perspective, which is going to be something that they want to hear, because it's coming from a completely different mindset than what I could explain it from, because I can't come from your position. So I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air when they can, because you can relate to their pain points. And a lot of them right now, Jack, are telling us they're scared they're going to go backwards. And some of these brokerages that we didn't get to quick enough, let it actually close down and implode. I've actually run into some where they're like, I just closed it down just 2 months ago. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So guys, if you're thinking about closing your independent, this is an exit strategy for you to continue growth through the recession or through the correction, if that makes sense. So it's good to sit down. Jack, very grateful. Super excited to be working with you guys. And if you have questions, you know how to reach us. Other than that, I'll see you. Thanks, Jack, for coming on today.
You got it, buddy. Thanks a lot.